Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Vagina Truth Bomb, the podcast. This is an endometriosis edition episode, and I'm Amy, your host and founder of Vagina Truth Bomb. And let's dive into today's episode because we're going to be talking about healing. And I know when it comes to the world of endometriosis, this is a big topic, and it's also a controversial topic because the narrative is that there's no known cause, there's no known cure, and that we are incurable. And I'm going to start this episode off with a big fat vagina truth bomb drop, which is this. You can heal your endometriosis. So if you are somebody listening to this podcast right now and you're somebody suffering with endometriosis, I really want you to take a moment to receive the words that I have just said. You can heal your endometriosis. And just let that sink in. And I want to say, this is not something that has been easy for me to say. I have shied away from making this claim for a long time. I thought, oh, I can't say that, it's too controversial. It's, da 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 da. And I am now just completely at the point where I need to scream this from the rooftops because it is so true. And the danger is, the concern is that women aren't understanding this. As I've said, they're believing that they've got this condition where there's no known cause, there's no known cure, they're completely incurable, and it becomes their identity. I have endometriosis. I'm incurable. I see this all the time. I've seen this for years and years on different forums, speaking to different women, just talking to so many people who are impacted by endometriosis. And it deeply breaks my heart. And it's really important for me to clarify that I'm not judging anybody here. I'm not mocking anybody. I'm not judging anybody. I am stating what I believe to be true, that you can heal your endometriosis. And the reason I'm definitely not, mocking or judging anybody who may not feel that they are in that place at the moment or that they're fully in that place is that I believed this myself. I believed it enough, that I was incurable, that I was a lost cause, that there's nothing else that could be done. I believed it enough to sacrifice my body, my womb, my ovaries, my cervix, my motherhood, like my ability to be a mother. I sacrificed all that because I was listening to this narrative that I was incurable. And I spent decades in that space of just believing that I would never get better, that it wasn't possible for me to heal and be happy and healthy and have the quality of life that I saw others having. And it's a really shit place to be. And I don't want anyone else to be in that space longer than they need to be. So my hope is, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to me speak, if you're following Vagina Truth Bomb, that you have that inkling. Maybe you feel it already, that you know that you can overcome this condition. Or maybe you're just starting to niggle. Maybe your intuition's tapping you a little bit and questioning what you've been told. And this is why I want to stand up and proudly say, hey, I'm Amy, and I believe that you can heal your endometriosis, and I can help you to do that. Okay, so talking about healing, and I want to really look at where we've come to this space of not believing that our bodies are capable of healing. And in the last episode that I recorded, excuse me, that went out last Friday, It was a strange one. I literally had been doing some journaling and some pondering and reflecting on the fact that it was coming up to International Women's Day. And it was also, as it still is, because it's still March, here in the UK, we are, I don't know if it's celebrating is the right word, but it is Endometriosis Awareness or Endometriosis Action Month. I don't know if that's a global thing or a UK thing, but these two things were happening at the same time in March. And I just got reflecting on the fact that it's 8 years since I had my surgery, and women are still being told the same old bullshit. They're still being given the same procedures, the same drugs, they're still being given the coil. They're still being told that they might, if they get pregnant, it might sort it out or it might not. They're still not getting any clear, concise answers. And here in the UK, we have our National Health Service, which has many positives, but it also is failing in a lot of places. And supporting women with endometriosis is one of them because there's been no progress. Over the last 8 years, I'm just looking at my own personal experience and what I've observed, there's been no progress. There's so much focus on increasing the diagnosis rate, raising awareness so that we can increase the diagnosis rate and women can understand that the pain that they're feeling, the symptoms that they're feeling are endometriosis. But when it comes to beyond that, there's nothing happening because they believe that, that it's incurable and that there's no found proven way of curing it. And this makes me angry. Now, the medical model, as I call it, like what the NHS follows here in the UK, like the medical model, the Western medical, like culture, the pharmaceutical industry here in the Western culture, fails on two parts, in my view. Firstly, it fails to appreciate the body as a whole, to understand how the body works as an ecosystem. No system in the body ever works alone, ever gets you injured alone, or ever heals alone. We are amazing, powerful, magical ecosystems. Like we're just amazing. We are so amazing. Like the body is amazing. And what the medical model does is it strips it down into different departments and separates it out. So if you have endometriosis, you get sent to a gynecologist, and that is who you have dealing with you. You may on occasion get sent to, an endocrinologist, depending on what your symptoms are, but you see what I mean. You're sent to different departments for different pieces of the puzzle, and they're not looking at the body as a whole, which is a huge disrespect to the intelligence of the body. And the second thing that angers me about the medical community, and I know there's so many reasons why this happens, like patriarchy, all the legal stuff, like political stuff, like all of the pieces, but it completely ignores the role of alternative ways of medicine. It doesn't have the respect that it needs to have for other modalities of working with health and well-being. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is you're not, you're very, very rarely going to get a doctor prescribe, or a specialist, whoever it is, prescribe that you go and see a osteopath, or that you go and have some reflexology, or that you go and try some yoga, or that you you know relax, reduce your stress. Like, it completely ignores the other methods of healing and the other opportunities and mediums that are out there. It's very much like this is the only way that we can do it, is following these pathways that we have within the NHS, within the medical model. And what this does is it takes the agency away from us. And from a really young age, we go to the doctor and we tell them our symptoms and they tell us what's wrong with us. And we're kind of just grown up, conditioned to believe that the doctor's always right, to not explore other things, to not challenge anything. And they're really only looking at, finding a pharmaceutical product that's going to squash your symptoms. They're not trying to get to the root cause. And this is huge because, honestly, like I saw so many medical people when I was struggling with my health, and not one of them asked me about my diet. Not one of them asked me how much fluids I was drinking, how much sleep I was getting. Like the foundational pieces of maintaining a healthy body were never asked. I never got asked if there was someone I could confide in, if I had a support network, someone I could talk to about how lonely I felt, how scared I was. I was very much in this system of, you've got a 10-minute appointment, they'll be always running late because that's how it is. And, if you got your 10 minutes, you were lucky, and it was in and out and in and out. And, I was saying to a friend last week, I went to, I think it was, excuse me, I went to a gynecology appointment, probably 3 years after my hysterectomy. And I went in and my files were on the desk, which are huge because I've had a lot of work done. And I've had a lot of work done, and I was there talking to them about, I had symptoms of Lynch and sclerosis. This is what I'd gone in for. And I was asked if there was any chance I could be pregnant. And I was just bowled over. I was like, what the chuff? Like, ugh, the system is so rushed. So, there's so many things I'm getting into here, but like it is a system that at its core is ignoring the intelligence of the body and not looking holistically at ways that we can support our health and well-being. And on top of that, it's hugely like overstretched, under-resourced. And this is why I get angry at the fact that there's all this motivation and all this talk and excitement about increasing diagnosis time for women with endometriosis. And that just has me screaming internally because I'm like, but what then? What happens then? You've got your diagnosis, you've got endometriosis, and I'm going to do another episode talking about why the diagnosis doesn't matter. Why, you don't have to have a diagnosis to be able to get help. What happens to all these women that are then told they have endometriosis and are in this system that tells them that they are, there's these routes that we can go down, but they're not always successful. And a lot of the time, they're doing a lot more harm than good when it comes to the body. Like with surgeries, we're increasing scar tissue and trauma and inflammation in the body. And yeah, but that's a whole other episode. So just to get to this foundational piece at the beginning of this episode, that you can heal, and we are told that we can't heal. And this message that we can't heal is coming from a very restrictive model of health and medicine. Okay, so you can heal, but in order to do so, you need to open your mind. You need to be curious. You need to, it's really scary and it's really overwhelming to step into the path of healing and exploring different ways, because a lot of the time you're looking at making lifestyle changes and creating new habits, and that's hard work. It's really hard work. And, you're then getting curious, you're learning new things about your body, you're understanding how the body works and getting curious. And there's a lot of, with my journey and a lot of the clients that I support, there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen. Like exactly what we've just been talking about, like unlearning the fact that you feel that you can't heal and why you feel that. Like, why do you feel that you can't heal from your endometriosis? And then relearning to come to a place where you know that you can. So there's a lot of work that needs to go in to your healing. And again, this is one of the reasons why I really struggle with the medical model, because it's taking, I say this all the time, like it's taking so much power and so much agency away from us, because what it does is it sets us off down this path. And I've been here, so again, no judgment, of wanting a quick fix. If I just take this pill, if I have the coil put in, if I have this surgery, if I do these things, these symptoms are going to go away and I can carry on doing everything else that I'm doing without these symptoms interfering with and my life, and I can just carry on doing what I'm doing. And a lot of the realization when it comes to healing and exploring healing in this holistic way is that you realize that the factors that are driving your endometriosis, they're not necessarily what's causing it, but what's driving the symptoms of your endometriosis can come from beyond your body, beyond your womb. This is why I call my program Beyond the Womb, because you go to the doctor, you get a referral to the gynecologist, and they're looking very much in that area. When we step into being serious about our health and our healing and our well-being, we need to start looking beyond the womb, and we actually need to start looking beyond the body, which is why at Vagina Truth Bomb, I've created the 5 foundations of health and well-being: body, emotions, environment, connections, and blueprints. Because all of these 5 can be driving the symptoms of your endometriosis. And this is what we're going to be unpicking in this podcast as we go along, as to what that can potentially look like and how you can support yourself to change that and create an environment and a culture within your lifestyle where you're supporting your body to heal, and not only heal, but to thrive and be healthy and to allow you to have well-being. So that's the first thing about healing, is that it is possible, yet we need to redefine how we feel about it, like what we think of when we think of healing. And this is one of the reasons why having a mentor to support you through the journey is really valuable. And one of the things that I'm really good at in the work that I do is knowing how to sequence the healing. So knowing in what order I need to approach the topics, the 5 foundations of well-being, health and well-being, in what order they need to be approached. And when it comes to working with the body, in what order I need to be working with the body to allow you to heal and create an environment of health and well-being within your body. And I'm actually going to do a separate episode on this sequencing of healing, because it's so important that that is understood, what that is, because it's just vital. And one of the reasons having a mentor is important and really supportive is that as you're going through this transition, as you are making these changes, starting these new habits, learning and unlearning and doing all the things, it's a lot to navigate and it's a lot to carry. So having a mentor guiding you through it, kind of holding your hand, navigating you, getting you back on track when you're a bit disorientated is so valuable. And somebody who understands the sequence of the healing and why things are happening in the way that they are, and that understands how the body works and what the symptoms of endometriosis can look like, whether that's a physical symptom or an emotional symptom, and be able to guide and support you to overcome these hurdles as you shed the symptoms of your endometriosis and start to heal. And this is why I offer program packages. This is why I'm not overly keen on doing one-to-one sessions, because to me, the value is completely in the container of the program. So, when you step into work with me, when a client steps into work with me, we have a container, like a space of time together. For example, if someone came to work with me for 5 weeks, we would be in that container for 5 weeks together. We would have our one-to-one sessions in there where we're doing deep stuff and actually getting physical and doing what we need to do and learning the practices and exploring what we need to explore. But then outside of those sessions, we're checking in. I'm there cheerleading you, guiding you, holding you accountable, listening to you, supporting you, loving you, making sure that you are getting what you need in order to make it a transformational process. Because my intention is, that you're not going to need me. I want you to get to a space where we go through all of the work together and then you're like, Amy, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I can, I've got all of the resources. I've got all the toolkit that you've given me. I know that I can navigate it on my own now. Because your healing and your health and your well-being, it's not a destination. You don't get to a certain space and be like, I'm healed now. I can stop doing everything that I've been doing to get to this space. And I can, kick my shoes off and go back to what I was doing before. And I can tell you now, people that step on into these coaching containers, mentoring containers, they don't want to go back. They're done with old Amy or old whoever they were. And they're really proud of where they've come to and the process they've gone to and the progress they've made. But it's transformational. But you don't stop. It's completely different to this mentality that we're brought to, programmed to have of, if I just keep taking the birth control pill, if I just keep having the coil in, if I just keep, having a laparoscopy, whatever it is that you're doing, and I'm saying this from my own experience, then I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be able to manage it. That's not good enough in my world. In my world, we want you to heal and we want you to thrive. And it's transformational. We want you to really connect with your body, to understand what she wants, to understand how you can support her, to understand the message that your endometriosis symptoms have for you, because that's what they are. All these symptoms of endometriosis, whatever they are that you've got, they're messages from the body that something's wrong and that change needs to happen. And some of my messages were so loud and so painful, and I ignored them for so long. And as I've said before, when I had my hysterectomy, they just found another way of manifesting themselves. If it wasn't the cramping and the bleeding, it came out in something else. So this understanding that healing is this transformational process that you need to go through that involves changes in, excuse me, let me just have a drink. That's better. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's changes in all aspects of your life. And I've created these 5 categories of like the body, the emotions, the environment, connections, and blueprints. So healing it is possible and you are capable of it, but you need to redefine what healing looks like for you and where you're putting your agency and your power. Because keeping it in the doctor's surgery, waiting for that call, sitting on the waiting list, all of those things that I've done, that's not you in your power, in your agency, stepping up to heal. That's society telling you that you are incurable, that you're not enough, that you're not worth it, all of the things that you just need to absolutely redefine. Like, you need to change that narrative that's going around in your head. And you need to know that you can heal and these things are capable, because you need to unlearn and relearn the power of what can happen when you look holistically at your healing and when you know how to sequence your healing. And the piece that I want to come to now is asking for help. Like when you step up to work with a mentor, and I've said this before, I said this in my first endometriosis edition episode, that I might not be the right person for you. This is your choice, your health, your body. You need to go out there and shop around and look around and see what's available for you and see what is going to get you the support that you need. But it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to have support and to step into a professional container with someone to, pay to receive that support. That's okay as well. Because again, like, I'm speaking very much to the UK here, like the UK audience and the National Health Service audience is like, there's options available to you. And having this culture, and again, like the NHS does have its benefits. I'm not saying that it hasn't, but I'm talking very specifically in relation to women with endometriosis here. It's not giving you the options. Yeah, you can sit on a wait list for 2 years, 6 months, and wait for your surgery or wait for the next appointment. Or you can have a look around at what else is available to you, where you can start to take control and start to have that power and really start to take back control. For me, when I started to explore the world of like health coaches and mentors, it felt uncomfortable for me to ask for that support, to ask for help. Yeah, I felt comfortable going into the doctors and, answering their questions and showing what was going on. But I never felt fully listened to. I never felt like I was being seen and heard, and it frustrated the hell out of me that I wasn't getting the answers. And that frustration, that stress, that like all of that inside me building up, that's feeding symptoms of my endometriosis. And the first time I stepped into a coaching container, a mentor with a mentor, and I had this space that was just for me where I could be vulnerable and I could ask for help and I could ask for support and I could be listened to. It felt so good. And it felt, oh my whole body just loved it. And I had phenomenal results because I was in a space where I was being listened to, I was understood, valued. And when I started to explore my conditions, at this point, my endometriosis had gone in terms of it wasn't giving me the pain that I had before. Is it, my womb and my cervix had gone, and it I was very much having other symptoms like manifest up. But having my body understood and like that holistic approach of like everything. Because when you look at things holistically, when you look beyond the body, beyond the womb, you start to find things where you can take control and take your power back. If you understand how important caring for your nervous system is, and you're told how you can do that, if you understand the role of your lymphatic system and how you can remove excess estrogen, you can remove toxins from your body via self lymphatic massage and touch, and you know how to do that, when you know what better choices to make in terms of your environment, in terms of what products you should be using, like what food you should be eating, how to hydrate yourself, how to exercise and move, how to care for yourself, like little changes that you can make that fit into your lifestyle, that you can fit into your day without having to make big, massive, huge changes of dedicating an hour a day to meditation or, whatever it is. Like when you're told this and you're given these resources and these tools, you become empowered. You start to take back control. Instead of like being in the space of feeling lost and drained and exhausted and completely like unresourced when it comes to healing or addressing the symptoms of your endometriosis, because you're knackered and you're in pain and you just don't want to see anybody or do anything and you're at rock bottom. When you're in that place and you have the tools and resources to use, and you've got someone that you can lean on along the way who's checking in with you, making sure that you're okay, that you're on track, that you understand everything, that you're getting what you need, is a really powerful thing. So I've talked quite a lot about my work in this episode because it's really important to me that you understand that there is another option out there aside from, you know, going down the medical route and getting nowhere and spending a long time and a lot of resources getting nowhere. So that's all I'm going to say about healing today, because I know that there's so much more that I want to talk about in other episodes. For example, I really want to go deeper into sequencing healing. And I also want to talk more about, in depth about the 5 different foundations of health and well-being, and why I've chosen those and how we can explore some of those different categories and different subcategories in different episodes. But really, I just want you to know that you can heal. You can heal. And to really start to explore the alternatives out there. So if you are somebody who has been reliant on the NHS, on the medical model, maybe you have been dabbling with some other holistic support alongside that. Maybe you've been going to see a reflexologist, or an acupuncturist or an osteopath or herbalist or whatever it is that you're doing. Like, resource yourself, beautiful. Get out there, explore, be brave, show up for yourself. And if you are interested in knowing more about working with me, if you want to get a little bit closer and spend some time with me and, be able to ask me questions and all those kind of things and get a little bit more of a feel as to what it's like to be in space with me, then I recommend that you join my community. I will put a link in the podcast show notes because I'm very much looking at supporting you through community. She's one of my 5 foundations of health and well-being, and doing that in a space that is away from social media. That's really important for me. And again, I'm going to be talking about that more in future episodes. But yeah, like, oh, guys, just relax into the belief that you can heal, because it's powerful, really powerful. And if you would like to reach out to me and, let me know, I'd love to know where you are at the moment on the spectrum of believing whether you can heal or not, because I know that it's, there's a broad spectrum there of people just like feeling completely helpless and alone, and that surgery and everything is their only option, and that fearful, horrible space, all the way through to, oh, but what other options? Like, how do I do that? How do I explore this? All the way over to, yes, I fully believe that I can heal. I might not know how that is yet, but I just know that I can. Or maybe you've done it. Like, maybe you are healing yourself, or you're like making improvements. I would love to start opening up conversation with you guys. So you can either comment in the comments, or you can drop me an email, amy@vaginatruthbomb. Would absolutely love to open up connection with you. Yes. Okay. So I will end it there. And thank you for sticking with me through this episode. And just remember, you can heal your endometriosis. Sending you lots of love and wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.